Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Arc Hive. We're here to show you our first podcast here with the Archeons band out here in Nashville, Tennessee. Today, we're breaking down some amazing topics for you. We're going to be diving into some new content we have coming your way, talking about Beneath the Waves. Gentlemen, we have some great things coming, talking about artificial intelligence, some possible new things we want to reveal to you as well. We're going to start out right off the bat, talking about the meat and potatoes of it, the lyrics itself. We're going to introduce really quickly, we got our boy Chris Huff here on vocals, lead man of the hour, my boy. We got T Swain over here. We got B Stin, and of course, gotta mention the K Nasty, and we got Young Cody over here living it up, being our techie. Right into the Beneath the Waves topics of lyrics. We're gonna go over to our vocalist, Mr. Chris Huff. Talk to us about lyrics, man. Tell us what inspired you in creating this.
This is actually the first song I wrote when I first joined the band, and it did not have any AI sort of reference at all. And then when we had the idea, like, oh, well, let's make the EP have to do with AI every song, let's make a concept EP out of it. I just went back through it and changed up a few things. I already had the title and most of the chorus, so Beneath the Waves, all that stuff was already in there. So I thought it would have like this cool transition to be like the water or Beneath the Waves. It kind of has this cool like mirror to like conscious and subconscious and all that. So I don't know. There's also one cool line in here. Let's see. Falling into the rift, torn apart. Yeah, so we kind of took it in a way like, so I'm a big conspiracy theorist. And so we kind of took it in the way of like alternate dimension travel and stuff like that.
For sure.
I don't know if you guys are aware of like CERN at all.
I remember we talked
Tell us
about
about
it.
it. Yeah.
So CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. I don't know why their initials are CERN, but that doesn't make any sense. But
Young Cody, look it up.
So
pull that shit
Cody. Pull that shit up, Young Cody.
Other side.
Yeah, they're the ones who own the. They're the ones who own the Large Hadron Collider in Geneva. Mm-hmm. A little fact about them. They're also the ones that basically invented the internet.
Really, CERN?
Yeah.
All right.
No one really knows that. Yeah. So with the LHC, there's this theory that like they're trying to tear open portals into other dimensions and travel and all that stuff.
I've heard about that.
So that's one of the things that people think they're looking for. Also with the internet aspect of it, they think that they've already found a way to communicate with other dimensions through internet.
Really?
So it's just a couple theories that people have kind of thrown out there. A couple of them have some merit to them.
So talking about like diving into getting the internet to bring us to this side, going to another dimension, exploring other aspects, other realities we haven't quite gotten to there yet as a culture, as a society. But from your perspective, how do you feel? How close are we to being able to do that?
With the rate AI is kind of growing, I would say maybe next 100 years for sure.
Next 100 years?
Maybe sooner than that, because they didn't think AI would be growing at the rate it has.
True.
Like where everything's, self-learning and stuff like that, they think, that would take another 20 years, but here we are.
Yeah, it's true. Definitely some rapid acceleration and growth here. So, diving into those lyrics, going into all of that there, let's take another flip on the other aspect of the end there, talking about the music itself. Mm-hmm. I know that Archeons definitely, before some of us joined into the picture, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes grinding out, some tasty, beefy riffs, some excellent music. So let's go right over to our boys, K Nasty and T Swain. Tell us a little bit about the writing process. How long was Beneath the Waves in the work for you guys?
So this was Untitled 60, and you'll always know a Chris song when it's got the Untitled.
Well, you won't know it because the name will change.
We'll know it.
We'll know,
yeah. So this was this was later in the process of writing. This is probably like one of the last.
As far as the EP goes?
The EP, yeah.
I think it was
this
like
is one of the last ones. So we already kind of had the idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, like the sound was already getting there.
Sound was getting there.
Yeah.
And everything.
Good shit. Do you guys have any particular riffs that, like, those are your babies in the song? Like, you, like...
Ooh.
Dude, I remember when you wrote the dueling lead, not the intro one, but, like...
Yeah.
And you were like, man, I'm so proud of that.
God damn.
I do.
Well,
But yeah, that's a cool one. I like that part. It's got a cool vibe.
Good shit. Brian, how you feel about, the rhythm aspect of that? Hopping on the drums there?
Skins.
That song was in its infancy when I met them. That was one of the 3 demos they had done.
Mm-hmm.
It's come a long way since then. I still remember on the Wix website. Streaming that one when it was just
I forgot
a website
about that.
you two guitar players.
I never remember that.
Yeah, tell the fans a little bit about that.
I met Trey through Red Lobster.
Hell yeah. Fucking biscuits.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
Fucking biscuit.
because of the biscuits. Yeah.
Cheddar biscuits.
that's right. Yeah.
So
Red
you
Lobster sponsor us, please.
Red Lobster.
Tennyson.
Shouts out.
Get your biscuits.
Give me a biscuit.
We need a lifetime supply of biscuits. I think.
No, I forgot about the Wix site though. It's hilarious.
I don't even
Yeah.
remember that.
Wix.
Yeah, and Marky was saying you needed a drummer. I was like, it's probably like a ding 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 ding.
That's
Right,
exactly what I
right.
thought about Brian.
Right. So I looked it up, and that was one of the demos on there, and I was like, okay,
hell is
this is a
that?
little different than I was expecting.
All right. Some good shit here. All right. So
What about you, Timbo?
Yeah, what about
Get
the
your
bass?
input on
The
there.
bass riffs there.
I mean, same way that, Mr. Brian here, taking a look at the material that these crazy motherfuckers ended up writing here. I kind of came in, very close to the end of that writing process. And when you start seeing the material they provide, they already have a lot of it kind of locked down, a lot of great structure, so when bass is kind of meant to be that foundation.
That one. That's probably the most structured song on the EP.
Yeah. Well, coming into it with seeing how much structure was already in there, it's kind of hard to add to a foundation when one's already set. But definitely enjoyed writing some stuff for the chorus there. Lots of fun there.
It was groovy. That was some groovy
Yeah,
bass
and
parts.
I feel like the bass got a lot of influence from, because we did the Peace of Mind cover first, and I think that was where figuring out that you want to do those
That's true.
tasty
Yeah.
little bass things. So they do so much of that in Peace of Mind,
Thanks.
and then just taking that now I feel like all of our songs have some dope ass little walking
Yeah, it's in a
bass
good
shit.
spot too. Yeah, when there's simple chords going for guitars, and then you just do a weird run
Feel
on the
it, man.
bass. Sounds cool. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I try. We all do our best here. But speaking of peace of mind, let's bring up some new material that the fans have no idea about quite yet. Is that something we want to kind of open their eyes to, or want to leave that in the dark little mystery tidbit there? Easter eggs.
We'll let them think on it for a little while longer.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's
Someday.
coming.
It's been, we've had it for
And maybe a few
2
others.
years, so maybe in another 2 years
We
it'll
don't
be
say
released.
when because we don't know when now.
Because that one was,
Soon.
we covered that for Brian's. Brian had a boy when he was in school.
A boy?
Congratulations.
Yeah, I had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, god dang. All right, well, let's take a look back here at into the meat and potatoes of Beneath the Waves. Looking through
Yeah.
some of these lyrics, taking a look at the chorus. We've got forever searching the beyond the veil. Take me in, let me find myself again. And beneath the waves, now you go to sleep, taking over once again. So this broad topic of AI. First of all, a forged reality. For those of you who don't know, again, the EP links down below to a forged reality. Feel free to check it out on all of your popular social media platforms, along with Archeons and the Arc Hive. But why AI? A little more into what's going on. Let's get a broad topic going on about AI. Anyone got anything you want to throw out?
Well, I think we should just go off of this song.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, this chorus was pretty much written before we had the concept. It's
Yeah,
just,
we didn't change
it's
much about it.
music in general is easy to warp the,
Yeah.
interpreting it differently. So we were like, okay, cool. Because originally the song was about a crazy hot sea monster bitch.
Aren't
Word
they
for
all?
word.
More or less, yeah.
And then we got into the topic, and we went through so many different ideas with this song, just with AI, and then I remember we were talking about the CERN,
Yeah.
and going into that.
Yeah, CERN really took it from an idea to actually writing about the story and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So the broad topic of this one is just interdimensional travel,
Yeah.
and it's it's pretty much like a artificial creature that we send through a portal,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and to pretty much to the fourth dimension or some kind of thing like that, where this artificial being meets like God in a sense, and God is like, humans aren't supposed to discover this realm
through technology.
yeah. But through like evolution of consciousness and like.
And there's a couple like cool like double meanings in here where it touches on consciousness, which I think the whole EP does this, where it touches on AI, but also consciousness at the same time. Because I think as AI, this is my opinion, I'm sure you guys kind of agree with me, but as AI improves and technology improves, that a lot of us will probably go through a dark age where consciousness is just lost for a lot of people. And I think that's very important going forward through this technological time, is that like we continue to, think and use our brains and grow our consciousness to where we're able to experience all these things without, having to stuff a fucking microchip in us or something like that.
I think that's going to happen.
Well, and it's interesting, with everything going on with AI. I was doing a little homework myself before, today about if you think about it, we're already very much integrated and so heavily dependent on artificial intelligence, and a lot of us don't
we're
even
already
think
we're already androids, man.
Yeah, we're there.
That's right. So, it's scary to think that 30 years ago, if you were going to give someone directions to go somewhere, you either told them landmarks or something like that, or you gave them a map, If you take away someone's phone today, trying to find someone,
lost.
That's exactly what Kevin Hart was talking about on JRE.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, my phone died. I was just lost. It's like I thought I was dying.
Damn.
So it's just so true. Yeah, we're so dependent on technology already. So
it's true. Well, and taking social media into that aspect as well. So much of our lives are online now. So much of our lives are online now. But
irony.
It's true. The irony of it is like, which life do you live more? Do you live more that online persona? Do you live more your actual life? What is truly more important to live?
Well, what's also fucked up about that is like social media itself is engineered to keep people on there.
Yeah.
Like
it's like food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it all just comes down to a balance of everything. Like, yeah, this stuff is nice and convenient and all that, but like you can't let it run your life in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to.
Yeah.
Everything's.
That balance.
As time keeps going on, like it's just you're gonna get more and more integrated. It's like you're gonna look at your kids and be like, "Why are they always on this shit?" And it's not gonna make sense to you because we grew up in a time, where there still wasn't as much technology. We got to see like both sides a little bit.
But as we're more aware of how it runs our lives, maybe we'll learn to balance it.
Dude,
because right now we don't really know.
I think you're gonna have to like. I think a lot of like why people are anxious and depressed and all this stuff is because there's so much information. They're constantly bombarded. So I think there's going to be a point where people realize, like, fuck, I got to step away from this shit for a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Take some of it in.
Try to, but not a lot of people do. They post on social media
it's
that they're
very
going
hard,
to.
yeah, it's very hard.
They're like, I got to get rid of Facebook. And then, like, a week later, they're like, well, I had to come back for this thing. It's like,
struggle is real.
And the whole time everyone else is like, no one cares.
Yeah. Well, and, like, it's all about just trying to make yourself look good. Like, you just want to feel good. You post a picture, you want to get likes.
Yeah, that's really it. Just to make yourself look good.
Yeah.
It almost makes me think about like the social atmosphere that we have as a culture is almost akin to with that, getting the likes, getting the shares, getting, all of even money as a whole. It's a marketplace for sure. Even if you're not monetizing it, talking about like that dopamine rush that you get, just from 3 likes, 5 likes, 100 likes,
that reminds me, don't forget to like, share, comment,
subscribe.
But no, for real, it's like when you start a podcast, you're going to get, hardly any views, and you hope that it grows to validate you doing something. It's like you just want to be validated by other people. It's the same with music.
I think another big part of it, too, is communication. Like, the reason why we started, we want to be more open with our fans. We want to be able to communicate with them, which is why we're doing stuff like this.
See, that's the healthy side of it, I'd say.
Yeah. So like, there's never been a time in history where people could talk to as many people as they can now.
Right.
Like the average person.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's very positive benefit to it.
To be able to, where you see, a lot of us know where we see, gamers, we see, makeup artists, we see Instagram models, who just nobodies, from nowhere, with just being able to have that access to that platform that was never available to them to completely change their life,
Yeah. Everyone can make something out of themselves. It's just finding the right
Getting
steps.
to it.
The American dream.
America. So, making things out of ourselves, of course, it gets into what let me start with you, K Nasty.
Uh-oh.
What do you think? Tell me what excites you the most about the next 40 years of artificial intelligence, but also what scares you the most?
Man, exciting.
Drink.
The possibility of
Oh, Jesus.
Put that in there.
that stays. But no, about universal basic income?
Universal basic income.
Oh, hold on. Laugh break. I'm surprised that stayed up.
That's a bad idea from the beginning. Oh man.
So
Pretty committed to it.
Yeah,
That's
he
great.
did.
universal basic income.
Yes.
For,
I look at that positively.
tell
I think
the
that'd be
fans a
cool.
little bit about that. Those of them that don't.
I
know
mean, it's
about
pretty self-explanatory. It's just everybody, from what I've gathered, everybody just is at the same level. Careful, coming back now.
it. Don't die.
The
Technical
dogs are
difficulties.
outside.
But yeah, so basically just AI or technology takes over all the stupid
this way.
shit,
Learn my lesson.
which
Let Rob.
that's the safe route.
Yeah.
But yeah, once it all takes over all the stupid shit, we're free to do things that are actually cool for a human to do, like art and music and all that.
Right.
So I'm about that.
But it's not about like
But I'm not saying that will happen. That's like a big if.
They're toying around with the idea.
That's a major change.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I want to be on the same
but that's
level.
more because like people just wouldn't need to work because
Everything's gonna be automated.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Self-driving
is- I
cars,
feel like that's
self-checkouts. Everything's gonna be taken by a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already on the way there.
Drones will just deliver your shit for you.
So, that being said, there are some advocates that say that artificial intelligence, as a whole, on the one hand, they may say it could never replace artistic endeavor. It could never replace music, design, all those activities as a whole. But then there are people on the other hand who would be able to advocate and also combat that with saying that if you're able to program something to be creative, then it can be. So, as we are musicians, as we are the creative, minds in this room, how do you feel about, your positions, pursuing an endeavor that is creative as opposed to something menial?
I think that creativity will be like the last thing to go. I think that it could definitely be achieved. I think some AI could write some bangers.
Definitely achieved.
Yeah,
I
think that
He's an expert.
watching a human do something is
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Is like
It's
you
the
want to
emotional
see
connection.
Yeah, and it's like you just it would be a lot more fun. I say this now, but I could be wrong. But it'd be more fun to go see a human perform than like somebody perform
Right.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you want
Well, I
want
mean,
that
there's
like
like a-
human element.
A shock value to seeing a robot
Yeah.
play, so which has already happened. But
I just feel like
definitely.
creativity will be like I think that it can be replicated, but there's something like we'll still be connected while we're still human.
That's just the human nature, yeah.
The human nature,
We'll all be microchips.
So yeah, I think arts are pretty much safe
for now.
for
now.
Yeah. I think it'll be the last
Like,
thing to
as-
go.
Having a little bit of programming knowledge, it's definitely possible to program okay, so you're gonna paint this picture and you're gonna watch out for these color schemes and blah blah blah. You're like, yeah, it can definitely
Yeah, you can
replicate.
program that, yeah.
It can definitely replicate it, but like these guys said, it's more of the emotional aspect. Whereas
Why was it
something
created?
comes out of the printer, you're like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you hear the backstory of why something was
Yeah.
created, it's a lot more.
Right.
Right.
Humanity as a whole, it's interesting, how much at the core of us, I believe many of us really want to support each other. We want to find music and we want to find things that we identify with. At the end of the day, how can you identify with something that has never been human to begin with?
Or it's just perfect. I mean, even if you create something that's so close to human, it's like they're usually, unless they create the flaws in them, but
Right. So, that being said, let's take a look back at the song again. We've got "You'll Find Me Waiting at the End of Time," the watchful eyes and forgotten minds. Now, was that one of your lyrics, Huff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So that was taken from the perspective of once this thing that was sent through to explore for the human race meets up with this all powerful, all creative God, or all whatever you believe in, just the creative force of the universe. I'm not going to put a name on it. Some people call it God. Some people just call it, divine creator, whatever.
Right.
Trey. Some people call it Trey.
I was gonna say bacon.
That's just from the perspective of of that being or of that entity.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be there, long before, long after us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not judgmental. Like, it, I feel like as that force, it wants us to be creative too. It wants us to, explore and, find meaning in our lives because that gives it meaning.
Right.
So the watchful eyes, forgotten minds, is going to keep an eye on us. He'll be there, it will be there. Sorry,
Right.
keep putting a gender on it.
How dare you?
It will
You're
be
a piece of
there.
shit.
Whether you are going through amnesia and you don't have a deeper connection with the consciousness or you are exploring it, so.
I hear that.
Yep.
So, waiting at the end of the time, the watchful eyes, forgotten minds, talking about all that. Cody, we ever pull up anything about CERN?
Pull up the
Young Cody.
LHC. They got some new stuff they're working on for the LHC to make it a little bit faster. I saw that maybe a month ago. Because we are subscribed to CERN on Instagram, so we get their stories all the time.
Nice.
So.
All right, and while you're pulling that up there, dude, so AI, all of the possible, wonders and terrors to come. Moving on to you, to Beast In. What about you? What excites you the most about AI?
Ooh, excites me the most is that there's a chance that my dog will never die.
That's a good one.
There's
Also,
also a chance that they'll slow down our aging too.
that's true. I don't know if I want that.
I don't know if that's a good thing or
Just take
not.
care of the dog first.
Something would definitely have to be done about the population if all of us live to be 300.
Well, we got to get off the planet no matter what.
Eventually,
Because, Andromeda's going to hit us. It's just not going to
Dang.
be too good for us.
Might want to fact check that one.
Tell you right now, in
It is,
2
yeah.
billion years, the Andromeda galaxy is going to collide into our galaxy.
And that's definitely crazy too, because definitely, have you guys heard of the theory of the big stretch at all? So they talk about the Big Bang. It's like the reason. So from the single point explosion, expansion, we've got the universe, and so the theory was for a long time that after the universe began to cool, it kept everything just basically where it was, hanging there. It stopped moving. There was no more momentum pushing it out. But in the vacuum of space, as we very frequently see and talk about in many, many things that we look at, there has to be something with opposing force to make something stop in the vacuum of space. It's going to keep going. So with the Big Bang, that in mind, everything, the idea is still expanding. Yeah. However, the binding force of the universe, gravity, is what keeps everything. Of course, you've got the stars and planets and everything held together in their galaxies and such. But at a certain point, this stretch that's going on, and Cody, if you're able to pull it up too, for everyone to see, as you're looking there.
I think they've kind of gone against that.
The big stretch?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I've never even heard of that.
I think they've gone against it because once they discovered dark matter, there's so much of it that makes up the universe. They don't even know what the fuck it is. So it's
That
we
is
don't
my
have
question.
we don't have a clear enough idea to make that assumption that that theory has any. But then again, it's just a theory.
We don't know shit. Yeah, it's just a theory.
To kind of finish off on the theory, gravity at some point is going to bring everything back together again.
Yeah.
So that's the idea of the big stretch, that everything's expanding and then it's going to come back into the single point all over again.
Yeah.
And then boom, another big bang. And so that's kind of the idea of the universe itself is eternal and infinite, continually coming back in, expanding over and over again. How do you guys feel about that?
I feel like I don't know what came before that, and that's
Exactly.
trippy.
That's the shit.
Trippy AF.
It's it doesn't matter because the thing that always pisses me off is it doesn't matter how you explain if the Big Bang's real and everything. It's something, there's still particles that just didn't exist.
I think the universe itself is just one big thought. It thought itself into existence. It's one big mind.
Fucking.
Hey man, we can't rule out many theories. We don't know shit.
The secret is true.
I mean, if you think about it, the human brain is like a fucking transmitter. Where are we getting these signals from? Where does the thought come
Our
from?
Lord and Savior.
JC.
Sure, whatever you want to call
I
him.
think we're just picking up different signals coming from one source.
Dude, I just don't even know.
Yeah, I can't even comprehend the
yeah.
possibility of knowing
I'm not stoned enough to comprehend
that
this,
Damn.
to create more theories.
to contemplate it.
And with that, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Shit up, man.
Yeah.
What you got? What you working with?
Okay, so what I'm seeing on here is just a bunch of what? It's just a bunch of bits of information.
It's the internet.
What was the? I forgot what the purpose of pulling up the shit was for.
See if
Okay,
that
the
theory
CERN
still held any.
Yeah,
Like,
the theory they're actually
Oh.
talking about. They like take dark energy into the fact, and they're saying that it.
well,
just
dark
like-
energy and dark matter are two different things.
You're entirely correct.
Sounds like we got a necromancer
Yeah, we got
in here.
Neil deGrasse Tyson over there.
Well, yeah, these theories are just all over the place. But an interesting fact about this CERN, this particle accelerator, is that it has like a 27-kilometer ring of magnets that they keep at negative 271 degrees
Oh yeah,
Celsius.
yeah. It's
and
colder
that's
than the
colder
vacuum
than
of space. Yeah.
Colder than the
Colder
vacuum
than space,
space. That is definitely pretty nuts.
That's how like hot their processors get. They have to keep them that cool. Like that because they're using that same technology.
Yeah, it's liquid helium.
Yeah, they're using that same technology for their like quantum computers that they're building. That's another thing we can talk about, quantum computing. Like shit, they're literally like using computers to act like a human brain versus like where like one computer stores all the information. It's got information spread out to all these different nodes. So like the information will travel faster between them. So like literally, I can't remember the numbers, but look up how fast a quantum computer is compared to a real computer. It's stupid.
And that's probably gonna be slow
Right.
in like 100 years.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, and the crazy thing to think about, talking about all this, we haven't even touched quite upon bringing up the actual singularity yet. Any gentlemen care to, tell
it's
me
possible.
about it?
I think it's possible. So the singularity is like your Terminator scenario, that your AI is gonna get so smart and so like powerful that it just looks at us like we're just trash and we're just taking up space. It could happen. I'm not saying it can't.
No, I mean, I
That-
think that singularity is definitely going to happen. I don't think that it necessarily has to be
That's
a bad
one
thing.
way. The Terminator thing is the one way.
Right,
It could
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Singularity is just
I guarantee
Right.
the singularity will
Isn't that,
happen.
isn't that
that
more of a
point.
process? Yeah, the point.
after it's out
Yeah.
of the bag.
Yeah,
After
where
right.
it's like
beyond.
indistinguishable from human.
Yeah,
Isn't
just
that
where it's
singularity?
it's like once it passes human intelligence.
And
Exactly.
it could go that way. It could also be great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the only way to
anything's
make it.
possible.
Yeah, it could like wipe out all humans, whatever. But I think like the way to safeguard from that is make us like a main part of the whole thing.
Make
it
But I don't
to
know how you would
part
do
of the
that.
Make it to where they're dependent on us too.
Right, which is why
Yeah.
the whole Neuralink type thing, cyborg type thing. But I still think a super smart AI would just replace all its organic, frail parts with.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Like the human design is not the best design for
No.
a human. Like we can come up with
We
something.
talked
better
about that
now,
on one of our
but-
songs.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting.
Next episode.
If you're able to look it up there, Mr. Cody, there was a conference in 2015 that had a lot of the most brilliant minds out there, today. From Wozniak, to Elon Musk, to Ray Kurzweil, anybody know about Ray Kurzweil in here? Huff knows
Old
about
Ray,
it.
that's my boy.
Ray, what's good,
From
man?
Old R.
We went to
But,
high school together.
But he had a large hand in Google's big accomplishments throughout its infancy up until now. But Ray and Elon and of course Wozniak, this conference that took place in 2015, the topic at hand was AI, and that how a lot of them have talked about how it's probably the largest threat that we need to be concerned about within the next 100 years. And if you have the most brilliant minds on the planet coming together at a conference saying this is something we definitely need to be really concerned about, that's something we ought to be concerned
My
about.
thing about Elon is he's like gone on the record being like, "Oh, I'm against this," but like he's developing it. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to stop it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
going to
whole
happen
thing.
either way. Just if he gave up,
Right.
it would still happen. I think he's just trying to steer
Right.
it in the way of
Yes.
integration instead of replacing.
I just think that's the only thing. I mean, I think that's the only way that. But you know, like my thing is if AI destroys us, and the Fermi paradox isn't real. Fermi paradox is where, if extraterrestrial life exists and everything, there's some kind of barrier to prevent expansion into other planets or galaxies. Like technology can't progress that far because it destroys everything, and then they can't escape because they just don't know how or something like that. Or you know, a natural disaster, the sun blows up. You know, whatever like that. But if the Fermi paradox isn't real, I think it would be dope if even if AI destroyed us, like humans created something that could go and over the course of millions and billions of years, possibly, you know, like populate the entire universe. You know, like something that we created.
The next evolution of consciousness.
Yeah, it's just like
it's our.
Yeah, it's like that
gift.
could be like our purpose. You know, it's like even though because. You know, humans can't do that just because our bodies can't sustain. Like we could build suits or something, but then and the time to get to do travel. I mean, like even if you're talking about figuring out how wormholes work and stuff, it's like then could humans go through a black hole and stuff? But what if AI learns they slowly learn how to do that? So I think it'd be cool if humans had a hand in populating like the universe and figuring, because that's what excites me about AI is answers, because like we just can't comprehend anything.
Probably
like we're so
the answers.
We're so focused on, and that's why like intelligence is this spectrum too. It's like we think that we're really intelligent, but we're not. I mean, because if we were, like we're smart for us, you know, and like what we know, but like who knows how far intelligence really goes.
We're pretty primitive compared to like what it is at the maximum end of the scale.
Yeah, exactly. It's like who knows how far that can go.
Yeah,
it's
like
like
we're just above monkeys at this point.
Yeah,
like,
if monkeys are here or an ant's here, and then we're here, and then it comes all the way up here for intelligence. You know, because like we really just so focused on like we always think that we're awesome.
Right.
It's like.
Have any of you gentlemen seen the DC movie The Watchmen or read the graphic novel at all? I think Mr. Help me remember, Mr. Manhattan. Thank you, Cody. Mr. Manhattan.
Thank you, Cody.
is a beautiful representation, I think, of one of the best situations possibly that AI could go for us. But he has this wonderful line. Won't put any spoilers for any of you that want to watch it or read the
15
graphic
years
novel.
after the fact.
Super old, but he says to a character at one of the point in the movie, he says, "The world's smartest man poses no greater threat to me than the world's most intelligent ant." And I think that a singularity, seemingly all intelligent, what he ends up saying, slight spoiler now, if you want to look away, you can. But at the end of the movie, look away. Mr. Manhattan says, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm tired of this planet. He's like, I think I'm just going to go create my own life somewhere else. And that would be interesting, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, speaking of, this kind of pulls into like creating life. There is a geneticist in Japan or China, I can't remember.
Probably
but he actually succeeded in making designer babies, 2 twin girls. This past year, with CRISPR, the gene editing software.
Okay.
2 twin girls.
So it is kind of funny, and I'm probably one of the only people that caught this. But they named them Nana and Lulu, which if you go back to like Sumerian mythos. They have that belief that the Anunnaki created humans, and they named one of the first humans they created Lulu, and Nana kind of is like a parallel to their goddess Inanna.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
So go back a little bit. What mythology was that you were saying again?
Sumerian.
And what tale was it you were saying?
It's in the Enuma Elish. It's one of their creation myths.
Okay.
But basically, like, the Anunnaki were like this other race that came down and
like basically
humans.
aliens. Yeah.
Kind of hybridized us between like, I guess, whatever was here, like past the Neanderthal. Kind of jump started our evolution a little bit.
Right.
So.
Right. And that would be definitely interesting, if humans got to the point to be able to do that somewhere. That would be cool.
It is totally possible that that's already happened too. With like, people think like chimps, humans, but it could have been to where we went to the point of messing with our our genome like we are now, starting to learn to, and we kind of made us into something similar, and then you have like a huge mass extinction, whatever, and then we're kind of starting from the bottom, but we're still starting from this new like mold with like the doubling of the size of the human brain and all that. Like it could have been that we did it.
I want them to see that. Pull up the geneticist thing.
Already did.
Cool.
Way ahead of you.
Tell us about it, young Cody.
Yeah, he used CRISPR, I believe. It's just like
Yeah, it's right here.
yeah. Explain what CRISPR is a little more, because I'm a little vague on the details of that.
Okay.
You get your mouth now.
She said they made twins.
No, they didn't make the twins. Basically, they went in and like edited their genes
Yeah.
to,
So they made them like super hot.
they're basically able to give them like the desired genes they want to take out the ones they didn't want.
No way. Can I order
Yeah,
some?
that's already that's definitely happening.
Designer babies.
Designer babies, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that for like.
I'm gonna order them for delivery in 18 years.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is they just toyed around with the idea. They actually hadn't tried it on humans yet.
Yeah.
And this guy just went ahead and did it, and he's getting a lot of shit from like the geneticist field as a whole.
It's like that Black Mirror episode though, where the soldiers and they're like killing the people that like have diseases and shit because humans are pretty much like perfect because you can gene edit.
Young Cody, read up on that shit, boy.
Okay, so from what I'm seeing here, what he was trying to do is give these children HIV.
What?
And
No,
then he-
HIV immunity, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
what he was trying to do. He gives them HIV so he can affect the white blood cells,
I
so
can
that
give
way
you
that
HIV.
he can make it.
What's that?
I don't get a
Podcast.
license for that.
So that way that he can make a gene edit, basically, so he can like make it to where the father is no longer able to pass it down.
Okay.
Oh, that was
I've
in
heard-
Japan.
I've heard
Okay.
of that.
And it was
It's ringing a
Chinese.
bell now.
Yeah.
And they said
Hong
it changed
Kong.
a bunch of other stuff about them too.
That was Hong Kong, so it was China.
We're editing that.
Fucking internet. Always defeat.
So yeah, pull up CRISPR, just CRISPR, because I'm curious like details on that too. You guys are gonna learn some shit today.
You gonna learn today.
Thank God. I haven't learned anything yet.
So while that's getting pulled up, there was one interesting thing that I thought would personally I thought would be a beautiful thing to help the human race. A wonderful advantage of AI. If it gets to the point, in our lifetime, besides being able to genetically engineer how to combat diseases, with just a pill to say, hey, you're never going to get dementia if you just take this pill. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. But also to think about, honestly, somebody brought up this idea that there wouldn't be a need for lawyers anymore. Wouldn't be a need for, of course, doctors. They talk about many professions being replaced, but how great would it be for humanity to have a legal system that's run by completely unbiased, completely unaffected, completely cold,
The problem is
calculating.
integrating into that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that there's no way around like humans becoming artificial.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a time where our generation's like, fuck that. But then, like the next generation, it's just like now with like gays and
Weed
and
legalization,
weed.
yeah.
it's like like
It just
the
goes in
truck
cycles, yeah.
yeah.
Like that level of automation, and then they were
I know
saying
that's-
that like
yeah.
the last industrial revolution hit like blue collar, and the next one's hitting white collar with like lower level
Yeah.
lawyers and all that stuff like that.
That's just the nature of everything, man. It's just gonna go in circles, like, and there's no avoiding it though.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's just going to be the fight, and then as generations go on, it's just going to be more accepting. It's just like now, like I said, like I got my 8-year-old brother, and that dude just watches YouTube, or like Netflix and stuff, and like to us that's so weird. And it's like, and I try to be unbiased about it because I'm like, go play, like, but I think that that's just going to be a thing that, people change like with technology and time and stuff,
yeah.
and it's like it's hard for us to understand because we grew up just in a different time. Our parents grew up in a
Damn
different
kids.
time. Yeah, and it's like it's always gonna be that. Well, my generation's great because like we got to experience before technology got so great in here, and it's like so we think that we're the best, but then our parents think that they're the best, and their parents think that they're the best, and like they have the best moral ideas and stuff,
yeah.
and that's just how it's that's just how it is, and then those people die off, and like you just keep progressing.
Well, that's my favorite thing about AI. Like, going back to like what Chris said about universal basic income possibly being a thing, like my favorite thing about AI is like it's gonna give people the ability to like explore themselves, and like that's what life's all about.
To learn what it's like to be human.
So
Yeah. You'll get to like sit down and think.
it's
But
gonna
then
be
you're
shitty.
also-
It's gonna be hard.
Some
but,
people can't handle
you know,
that though, probably.
Yeah.
Which is the problem.
But it's also, a thing of like where a lot of people. So going back to just an unbiased law system, is I think that there's just gonna be people that resist that because they're like, I'm not gonna listen if it's not a human.
Right.
It's like you can't if it's Republican and Democrat right now.
Right.
Which, this is another conversation for a different song
Yeah.
as we go into
Well, it's some
that. But like
Right.
it's just like it's like even now like we can't even look at other humans and be like, I'm not gonna listen to them because they're on this different side.
Right.
So imagine if it's not a human,
Right.
and they're trying to tell you what to do, and it's like all the people and
Right.
that just don't know technology because there's still a lot of people who don't think that this stuff's
Right.
going on because they're in buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to Kansas.
Well, it's interesting. So many of us, I think it could be a great time to kind of take the conversation a little bit into our backgrounds a tiny bit. We've all been in so many different parts of the country. We've got New York, we've got Chicago, we've got Kansas, we've got Louisiana, California. I know, at least from my perspective, I came from the Silicon Valley, and comparing even Nashville to the Silicon Valley, it's a completely different atmosphere. I mean, Palo Alto, I think they just did it in Nashville as well, I believe. But they have that Google Fiber running around the whole city, to get that internet going. And there are places in the US where they hardly even have barely any internet. And it's crazy to think about,
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, how quickly could we realistically, integrate even just the United States, which many people still to this day, and much you guys maybe think input on it, talk about how we're one of, if not the wealthiest nation out there, and yet here we are, and think about countries that are third world compared to us.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's another thing where AI will help that because everything will be built so much quicker. Like think of 3D printing in 60
Right.
years. You'll be able to build cities in
Yeah.
I
in
think-
a matter of weeks.
I think
Well, that can be
Wi-Fi
a
is going to be
problem.
obsolete
Yeah.
in the
Run
next
out of
few
room.
years.
You think Wi-Fi is going to be
Yeah.
obsolete? Talk about that.
Well, just because with the 5G towers they're putting up now, that already fucking
5G?
5G.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That speed already fucking trumps most Wi-Fi speeds.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in zero. It's like 0.01 second latency.
I don't know, because there's a couple theories on it's not going to be good for the human body to be bombarded
Alex
with all
Jones
that.
said it something that does something to your DNA itself.
Oh, I don't know if I believe that.
I believe everything
I feel
Alex
like-
Jones says.
Let me go on record.
Let me
Incredible source.
put it this way, I wouldn't stand in front of their fucking microwave, and put my head inside of a microwave.
Right.
That's how I
But
feel
it's-
about 5G.
It goes everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. So,
If you're
I don't know.
unless you're gonna wear a tinfoil.
More reason to
Like
become
suit.
artificial ourselves so we can have
Science.
faster Wi-Fi.
So we can absorb 5G.
Priorities.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be insane, talking a little bit. I think you might have mentioned about putting the chip in. Did you mention that, or was it
One
yourself?
second, before we get too far ahead,
Okay.
Cody, you pulled up the CRISPR stuff, right?
Yes, I did.
Give us a rundown of that.
Okay, so basically what I'm getting is that CRISPR is a technology that is used for editing genomes, and from what I see, they take basic DNA patterns, and then they chop out whatever they see these this bad DNA for any sort of disease, and they're kind of replacing it with that.
Okay.
So CRISPR
So it's like a
in a
parasitic-
basis is just it stands for clusters of regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. So
Oh, you should
Yeah.
have started with that.
Wait, say it one more
because
time.
we all clusters of regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. So it's like when DMA is repeating in a specialized region with distinct characteristics, they can cancel it out.
Yeah, I have no idea. Anybody catch that?
Just fucking with
Sounds
DNA.
like what DNA is.
Yeah.
Just sounds like a
Repeating
way
So
to
they're trying to take it back to the basis of how it should be.
So all you need to know is they're able to go in and edit or delete whatever the fuck they want. Or
Right.
getting to that point.
Yeah.
They're limited on what they can do, but
Right.
Can they delete an extra chromosome in a person?
sure they can figure it out
Are
eventually.
they working on that?
Don't just let your dreams be.
Alright, I'll take the lead on that one, yo.
Breakfast.
Well, one of the cool things, like, if they get this technology like advanced, there's like. Cody, go ahead and look this up so I don't make a dumbass of myself.
Too late.
How many unactivated
Oh, my
strands of
bad.
DNA are there in the body?
69.
They call this like junk DNA, where like they don't think it has a purpose. But what if they figure out how to turn these sites on and like we can fucking read minds or some shit, like, you know?
I believe it.
A whole other problem of its own.
That's what the 10% of the brain type thing too.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the rest of it doing?
Yeah.
Taking a vacation, man.
Making our head heavy.
What does that mean when we're smoking weed? Like we're using 2%?
We don't do that. We don't do that. It's not legal here. We don't.
Yeah. I mean, when we eat pizza.
It is in Cali, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
He smoked before he moved here. That's what he's talking about.
Cali. Right on, guys.
Yeah, man. I think that
Go ahead and shout that out when you find it, Cody.
Okay, I'm not finding an exact number, but it is showing here that this said junk DNA has now been proven to play a role to like create DNA that is useful.
Okay.
Yeah, like building blocks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you pull up Grindr and check my inbox?
God dang.
But we have 46 chromosomes altogether.
So
Nice.
while we got this little logo going on, like, so this podcast, like, you know, obviously we're starting out talking about our own songs and, you know, like, our influences on, like, why we did what we did. But I think eventually we'd like to get, you know, other people in here, other artists. But what are you guys at home, like, what would you like to see? Like, would you like to see guests? Would you like to see interview type stuff like this? You know, feel free to comment on this video and tell us, you know, what you liked from it or what you think would be cool. And, you know, we're open for interpretation, so.
we could talk about Dragon Ball Z,
Dude, I'm down to talk about any anime.
Final Fantasy,
Absolutely.
RuneScape.
Are we taking this in that direction
Be the
today?
Yeah.
it's just
This,
Today, no.
This
Today,
is
no.
gonna
Today's
be
about
like
Beneath the Waves.
whatever you want to do. That's what we're gonna do. Like,
Word.
this is just a test.
you know, we're not set in stone with any type of like niche or anything like that yet. So,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
we're
we're
just
just a band, man.
here as a band discussing like cool topics.
It's the band bullshitting.
Yeah.
Band bullshitting. Gonna need some beers for sure.
Yeah.
BBS.
BBS? What's BBS?
Be back
Oh,
soon.
band bullshitting. Big, beautiful.
Be back soon. It's like AFK,
Birth by
bro.
Sleep. We can also talk about Kingdom Hearts.
Burnt by sleep.
Birth by Sleep, bro.
Like a stillbirth?
Oh, dark.
Yeah.
Alright. Moving on.
Excellent segue.
So, Beneath the Waves, are we talking about the music video at all in this?
We should, man.
podcast?
Shout it out.
Yeah,
We
so-
got some shit.
So here we are talking about the concept for Beneath the Waves, and our music video doesn't tie into that at all, so fuck you.
Not really.
It's got aspects of like dimensional travel and all that. Like
It's
we dumbed it down a lot.
It's an artistic approach to
Yeah.
the concept.
Because, like, and the thing that's tough about, like, podcasts and shit, and, like, really going in depth is because, like, music's just open for interpretation.
Yeah.
So, like,
100%.
you know, like, and
So
that's
we
the
kind of
cool
left
thing
the
about
video
art.
open for interpretation too. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, the story in the video does have like its things. It's like, oh, well, that happened, but like, we don't explain it at all. It's kind of
Yeah.
up for the viewer to be like, what the fuck is going on here? So
Yeah.
Which I'm a fan of. I like
Yeah, I think that we
songs
should just
being
leave
like
it
that.
open-ended. You fucking
It's
decide
kind of the beauty
for
of art,
yourself.
man. You
Yeah.
can make it your own.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like with this song too, because a lot of lyrics are set in stone before we even went into AI. But then, and we went through so many different concepts, and we were like, that can be interpreted correctly.
yeah,
It's just
Yeah.
using your imagination.
I remember we had to try to make that song very explicitly not about, or the video I should say, not about returning to your abusive partner.
Oh god, yeah.
Because the video, just the way it was laid out, it always was just
How we
like,
originally had, yeah.
yeah, we're
it
like,
was like
man,
she
that
was
sounds
running
so
away,
dumb.
she experienced all this stuff, and then she just went back, and it was better off.
That's-
But no,
Yeah, she realized that it wasn't so bad to be beating the shit out of.
Yeah.
That other dimension, man.
grass is always
Guys,
greener.
if you're
It's probably-
experiencing abusive relationships at home, please don't
Yeah.
stay. Go
Yeah.
away, never come back.
Don't
You're
come
better
back.
off without them.
We're doctors.
Doctors.
Oh,
Dr. Feel Good. Speaking of
Jesus.
which, so
we're
recently.
talking about the dirt.
I think it'd be a good time.
Why not? It's relevant.
It's not really about AI, but we can do it. Fuck it.
Why not?
Motley Crue is actually an artificial creative band.
But yeah, so
that.
current topics, in 2019, for those of you watching at home or those listening on the way on your drive somewhere, we did recently watch a new movie on Netflix called The Dirt, which is a documentary type film. It's a biopic about Motley Crue. Gentlemen, what do you think?
It was sick, man.
I like it.
It was good.
I thought the first 20 minutes were pretty cheesy
Cheesy?
with the wigs and shit, but no, it's really
It
good.
was cheesy throughout, but it was still cool.
You warm up to it, and it's really good.
So is that like the lifestyle that you guys want potentially to go for
No,
if it's
not
available?
that
You wouldn't be able to get away with that shit now.
That's pretty true.
That was
different
that was
time.
in that time, yeah.
That time, and it's a movie.
Now
And-
you have to be a nice guy. If you're at shows, you have to talk to people. You can't just get blackout drunk and smash
Yeah.
the
Music's
shit.
I feel like music's a lot different. That's what we should really talk about. Like it's just like the difference in music from
Oh yeah.
then and now, and like
Right.
because
Yeah,
we were
that's
talking about like
that's
did
a
you
whole
think that they
podcast in
had it
itself.
harder back then
Right.
or now?
Right. Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, I think. Well, I talked to Chris about this too, and it's just different. It's like now you
Yeah.
have access to so much, but everybody has access
Yeah.
to so much.
I
Like
think it's great. Like, and this ties in with technology. Like,
Mhm.
you have your audience right at the fucking palm of your fingertips.
you
Literally.
just gotta find
Yeah,
them.
the reach is infinite.
Yeah.
So I think there's pros and,
And then
cons
just-
to all of it.
just like the
Fuck
shit
a
that you
record
can
label,
do.
Like,
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, and then like the shit that we can do now.
Unless a really good one wants to.
yeah,
Yeah.
hit us up. But like having contact and like having all these contacts, just like a VST. And if you don't know what VST is, it's
We'll make
virtual sound
We'll make a
instrument.
video
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, and anyway, it's like you have these like plugins that 30 years ago you're talking about
Right.
12K,
Right,
and it's like now
right.
it's like
Oh, you're
150
talking like
bucks.
the production.
Yeah,
side
it's
of
just
it?
like you
Yeah.
can make shit that sounds good. Like we did the EP ourselves, and it's not, phenomenal, but it's not.
It's a step.
Yeah, it's not like you can't listen to it. You know what I mean? It's like,
And back in the day, like, audio engineers were like people in suits,
Right.
like
Yeah.
doing calculations and stuff, and now it's like
it's present.
people drinking beer in their garage,
Yeah.
like hey, we should record something.
slapping like 20 compressors on something just to see what it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
Give it the old
It's
car
just a
test.
different
Yeah.
time for like music and stuff, and that's why there's so much of it. But it's also great. You just got to figure out how to cut through the noise and.
Right.
and
I think there's
everything.
just pros and cons to all the eras,
Yeah.
no matter what time it was.
Yeah.
for sure. I don't think that music, I think at any time people can make it. It's just finding the ways, and like success doesn't have to be playing in
yeah.
front of.
I was about to say, I think you should just change your definition of like what making it is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that
Yeah.
being said, I was gonna ask, just everybody here, start with you, Brian. Like who would you say is two bands or a couple handful of bands today that you feel like are really setting the example for the next group of young musicians behind us?
Periphery with the
With the, with
I'm trying to think of the word, but it's like multiple income streams,
Yeah, yeah.
using your
Side business.
platform
Yeah.
to right.
Yeah.
They all basically have a hustle, which is like, and they've explicitly come out and said like they don't really make that much through music. They'll make the most touring, but a lot of tours they'll just break even and all that. But they're using their
They're using their
reach.
platform.
Yeah. But I think that's why they don't try to push so hard for music too, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
With and that's what they say, like in
That's
their
it.
documentary and stuff. Is just like we're writing music for us, and we don't really care.
Yeah.
It's like because they have their other.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah.
I think that is a good example for bands to follow. Like,
Yeah.
so Periphery is an example, Chris. You got
Top band paving the way, besides Archeons.
cut that out.
Let's see.
I can think of one that you showed me the other day. I mean, we listened to it on the car ride. Wage War,
Oh, yes. Well, see, I don't really know about their
like monetization and stuff.
marketing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, business side, but I just know the music's tight. Yeah.
Yeah. Trey, you have anybody that you feel is really crushing it right now?
Billie Eilish.
Who?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish?
No.
How
Well,
dare you?
That's
Not really
a,
a
is
genre, but
that's a bit of an
she's
extreme,
killing it though.
Yeah,
But-
but that's
Said
an
her,
extreme.
they said her nationwide tour sold out in one day.
Dude, like she blew
Yeah,
up
like the
so
whole thing.
fast.
She's
crazy. That is an exception because that doesn't it doesn't happen like that. You know,
That's
it's
like
not
the lottery, right there.
Yeah, I know.
Not necessarily the
I
hustle.
think she's
not
very,
to bash her.
She's very marketable.
But what I'm saying is like no. But what I'm saying is like she came out with something that's so fucking unique sounding, and it's like and it hit these like heights that people probably would have if she like tried to go to a record label or something at first they'd be like this isn't marketable.
This won't sell.
Yeah, because it's just different and she like crushed it.
It's
I
all
think
shock
that-
value.
And I mean I do think that she's a great example because it's something that you would like you hear and you're like this is number one on because it's fucking weird and it's cool. It's like a mixed genre bag of things and so like I know that she blew up and is like hitting that success that's not like happens quick, but I think that just how the music that she created was I think true to her.
Yeah, it's cool
she
that
seemed like
become
the person.
popular for sure.
Right.
I heard her brother like produces her.
Yeah,
it's just her and her brother. Yeah.
Cody just told me today that her brother was in Glee.
Oh shit.
In Glee.
Trey loves Glee.
That's where you got a lot of those connects, probably.
Huff, what about you? You got.
I feel like in our genre, the best band that's like doing the best right now is Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
Even though they just kind of made more of like a pop album, but like I kind of like how they don't settle on a sound and they change it up and
Yeah, I think that they're really true to themselves.
they're
I don't think
very
they sold out.
they're very good as far as like when it comes to like their marketing and everything. Like they leave things very vague and like it almost kind of makes like their fans have like this cult following approach where they just eat that shit up. So it's really cool. Like
Yeah, they did it right for sure.
Yeah.
I'd probably step a little bit outside our genre. Like what you were saying about Billie Eilish. I really admire Childish Gambino a lot. I mean Donald Glover, just a great example of somebody, and everybody. There's a lot of people who could talk about. There's a lot of people who have talked about how great he has done, but to be able to go from being a writer, to being on a TV show, to end up becoming a phenomenal musician, and then taking it into the realm of acting as well, I think is a wonderful example of how art doesn't have to. You don't have to be confined to just I'm a musician and that's it.
Yeah.
Very true.
Especially in this day and age. That's like what Indiepreneur talks about. It's like you can just like if you want to pick something up, it's so easy now.
you have all the answers.
I mean, not
right
easy.
there.
It's not easy.
You can
like,
find
you
out
gotta put in
anything
the
you wanna
time.
know.
Yeah, but like you can, if you really want something, you can just
The
study
knowledge
it
is
and
there.
yeah,
Figure it out.
Google it.
Google it. Yeah.
That's also kind of a bit of an issue too, is the amount of information. You got to figure out how to take it all in.
Yeah, there's
So.
definitely a lot of bullshit out there.
How old are we?
One day I'll get there.
One day.
Yeah, there is a lot of information out there, and it can kind of be tiresome, even when you're just really trying to find an answer. I didn't think that thought through very well.
Story of my life.
Not even high.
We can edit this in post. It's okay. Technology.
Technology.
Tech 9.
We have the technology.
See, what other AI subjects? What about like AR and VR and stuff like that?
VR's killing it. PlayStation's killing it with VR.
What if it gets to the point like where VR is so good that it's indistinguishable from like real life? Like what happens if?
I think
that
we should
becomes-
save that conversation for when we go over Experiment,
experiment. Yeah.
because then we can dive into the
What's that
simulation
song
theory.
about? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think that like VR is gonna be it's gonna be interesting because I think people won't want to experience reality. But then who's to say that this is real?
There's another CERN conspiracy theory, and it ties in with the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just goes back to that they're using the LHC to fuck with dimensions and like
What's this LHC thing again?
Large Hadron Collider. It is 27 kilometers, 16 miles long in a circle, and it just speeds up particles as fast as they can go and smash them into each other.
Using hella magnets.
Hella magnets.
Man.
That's what they're called. It's hella
Yeah.
magnets.
It's patented too.
So with the theory, it comes like, they discovered the Higgs boson, which they think is like the smallest building block of life and all that. But on like the conspiracy side, there's like, well, it's opening up portals, or they're trying to figure out how to do that, or
I think
with
that's just so advanced.
or with the Mandela effect, like people started believing like that's the reason, like maybe like that is causing two realities to collide together. So like, what's a good Mandela effect?
The Berenstein Bears, man. That one fucks me
the
up.
Berenstein Bears. It's actually been the Berenstain Bears all along.
Yeah.
That's the hardest one on me. That's the only one that I really.
Yeah, that
there's
one-
another one that fucks me up.
There's a
too.
few.
weird.
There's a few. The Star Trek one.
I know there's one.
Star Wars.
Star Wars
There's
one,
a couple
yeah.
serial ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cereal?
Yeah, it was like spelled one way.
Oh, was
you
it?
thought, and
Yeah.
then- yeah, there's a lot of weird examples.
Sinbad
Of just
being a
like,
Sinbad,
genie
yeah.
movie.
Shazam.
Shazam.
Yeah.
So you're saying
Swear I
the
remember
conspiracy is that the LHC
Dimensions.
is created the
Yeah,
Mandela
it's created
effect,
like these dimensional, I guess, like collisions
and it created the Mandela
where
effect.
like different
Oh,
realities are wrapping
yeah.
over. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Just technically, with like the theory of multiverse, is like every possible thing has a different spin.
yeah.
Which could be crazy because if we all remember it as the Berenstein Bears instead of Berenstain, it's like so we would have memory then
Yeah.
of like what it actually was,
Yeah.
and then we're like, wait a minute,
But
when did
like
this
all
change?
of the records show that it's been Berenstain Bears all
Right.
along. Yeah. So yeah, it's weird.
Which I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
just like mass
but see what I think.
confusion.
But
about
it's just
one
like you
specific
hear
thing.
something so much that you believe that that's true.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, it could definitely all be in our heads, and we're all just misremembering
Yeah.
things.
like
but-
Luke, I am your father. You know, it's just because I
Right,
feel
right.
like you heard that growing up all
Right.
the time.
What is it?
No,
It's-
I am.
No,
your
I am
father.
your
Yeah.
father. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It is.
Damn. Well, all right, everybody. It's been a great talk today, and guys, really appreciate you taking the time to take some
For sure.
personal moments with the fans.
My
Thank you guys
pleasure.
for joining us. For sure. Thank you. Thank you for
Definitely.
watching. Like, subscribe. We'll be releasing these bi-weekly, weekly, whatever we feel like
We'll
it.
test the waters.
Weekly is the plan,
The
but we might
idea.
be throwing in some sketch comedy, some music shit in there.
Yeah, we got a lot of content coming.
Basically,
Yeah.
this channel, we just like to do whatever the hell we want. So we do want your guys' input.
Yeah,
so
give
like,
us some feedback.
if you like this more
how it
than
goes.
like
Mom, hit us up.
Yeah.
Collective
But,
moms.
Yeah.
But for the first time ever, everyone, this is the Arc Hive. We're coming at you. We're
Numero uno.
signing off. Thanks again for a wonderful time. Peace.
Bye.
See you around.
Fuck!